Hi, my name is Rodrigo Camacho Michel. This is my presentation about the Cold War. So first of all, the Cold War rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union lasted for decades and resulted in anti-communist suspicions and international incidents that led the two superpowers to brink of nuclear disaster. So the important dates of the Cold War was the Korean War. This is where things really got heated between the Soviets and the US. It was in June 1950. Then the space race on October 4, 1957. This is where the US and the Soviets had an intense rivalry about space and who can get the farther fish. Finally, the Soviets started with the lead with Sputnik 1. However, when they kept competing, it actually brought them together and made the International Space Station. So then the Cuban Missile Crisis. This was the closest to the US and Soviets actually fighting. This includes nuclear warfare also. This was in October 1962, and finally the reunited Germany, November 9, 1989. These were East and West Germany reunited. East and Germany was no longer communist, and this was evidence that the Warsaw Pact days were numbered. What the term Cold War refers to. A Cold War is a state of conflict between nations that does not involve direct military action but is pursued primarily through economic and political actions, propaganda, and acts of espionage or proxy wars waged by surrogates. So here is the capitalism and socialism. Basically, a capitalist economic system is characterized by private ownership of assets and business. A capitalist economic relies on free markets to determine price, incomes, wealth, and distribution of goods. And then a socialist economic system is characterized by a greater government intervention to reallocate resources in a more egalitarian way. Socialism in the US began with utopian communists in the early 19th century, such as the Shakers, the activist visionary Josiah Warren, and the international communities inspired by Charles Fourier. So here is the interview I had with my father. And so basically the question was, what countries were the world leaders during this period? That was the Soviet Union and the US. Then why did countries who were allies during the war become enemies afterwards? Because of the many treaties that they were broken and many competitive actions. Then where did the Cold War take place? Between many parts of the world such as America, Europe, and Asia. Then, what opinion did the general public have of the Cold War? Many people said that it was something dumb, but others thought it would improve the economy. And finally, what type of weapons did the two world powers have at their disposal? Nuclear bombs, atomic rifles, AN-22 gravity bomb, and the ASMP stand-off attack missile. Pluton and Heights ballistic missiles were used to threaten each country. And in my opinion, I think that the Cold War was very and strange way to compete between the US and the Soviet Union. It seemed very dumb to waste a lot of money by making a race about who got the moon first. Considering both ways to govern, I think that socialism is better than capitalism. It seems like a more liberal way to propose your opinions and not be treated like a group of not useful human beings. Thanks.